USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for USVI News. I'm Emily Matson. As it has been for another week, positive COVID-19 case counts have gone down all throughout the territory. This as government leaders look into possible causes of Legionnaire's disease in the Virgin Islands. Our USVI News' Ali Born-Vanek has the very latest details from St. Thomas.
Emily, the COVID numbers are holding pretty low according to the Department of Health. Right now, there are 250 active cases of COVID-19, 141 on St. Croix, 99 on St. Thomas, and 10 on St. John. The Department of Health also has announced that they have gone back to their normal hours of COVID testing and encourages everyone to please make an appointment in advance. Also, an update on the Legionnaire's illness that 2 people in the territory have recently had. Legionella is found in warm bodies of water and can be breathed in. That's how you get the illness. Here's more.
We are investigating a couple of cases of Legionnaire's disease in the territory. As we announced at the press conference last week, we have collected samples related to those cases, and those samples are currently in the process of being tested. Legionella is a bacteria that is commonly found in cistern water. It's a freshwater bacteria, and the way you get it is actually when that bacteria becomes aerosolized and you breathe it in, and it can cause lung damage. The way it gets aerosolized is usually through hot tubs or sometimes shower faucets. So we collected water from sources where the individuals that did get it may have come into contact with those water sources, and that'll help us determine if certain water sources were a risk factor for those individuals or not.
And as always, we'll keep you updated when it comes to COVID in the territory and any changes when it comes to testing and its scheduling. In St. Thomas, Ali Born-Vanek, USVI News.
As more states around the country lift mask requirements for indoor public places, many are questioning if they should still continue to mask up. Bradley Blackburn has some advice from medical experts.
More states are lifting indoor mask mandates, leaving many people wondering if it makes sense to keep masking when the people around you are not.
Wearing a mask still protects you from, it reduces your risk of acquiring COVID. And if you do have it, it reduces your risk of onward transmission.
Dr. Chris Byrer is with Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health. He says we should pay attention to 3 fundamental factors when weighing whether to mask up. The first and most important, density and crowding, because that's what really facilitates transmission.
The second is ventilation. If you're in poorly ventilated places where you, for example, can't open windows, get air flowing. And the third is when you don't know the vaccine status of the people around you.
Doctors say some people need to be more conservative. That includes the elderly and someone who lives with an elderly person. Also parents who have kids who are too young to get vaccinated.
If you are in a multi-generational household, or if you are in a household with anybody with immunocompromise and underlying conditions, you have to be extra cautious because those folks, even vaccinated, are still at risk of more serious disease with COVID.
And if you have COVID-19 or know you've been exposed, it's recommended to wear a well-fitted mask for 10 full days around others in public or your home.
The CDC says people do not need to wear masks when outdoors, but people in areas of high transmission may choose to wear one, especially if someone they live with is at an increased risk of severe disease. The NFL has crowned a new champion. The Los Angeles Rams held off the Cincinnati Bengals to win Super Bowl 56, 23-20. Our USVI News sports director John Leidick was there and brings us a recap of Sunday night's big game.
The NFL postseason was full of down-to-the-wire finishes, and Sunday's Super Bowl no different, as it was a fourth-quarter comeback by the Rams offense, and then the defense coming up with the final chapter and a Rams championship victory.
We found a way to make a couple more plays than they did, but, you know, it's such a tribute to that group. Really just appreciative to be a part of it, and these players delivered in a big way.
After a prolific start by the Rams offense, it appeared that Los Angeles would put up big points on the day, but an injury to Odell Beckham Jr. derailed the rhythm before a fourth quarter comeback by Matthew Stafford, in which he found his favorite target for the game-winning score.
It's tough. You know, they played a bunch of man coverage. They were doubling Coop on every third down, and, you know, we just missed on a few plays here or there that could have been big plays for us, and we, on that final drive, I thought Sean did an unbelievable job of letting us go out there and play with a bunch of tempo. So many guys stepped up. Coop obviously had some huge plays, and then the game winner was just icing on the cake.
And after watching the Bengals score on their opening possession of the second half, the Rams defense settled in, coming up with pressure throughout the second half, and it was their leader, Aaron Donald, coming up with the final play to seal a Rams Super Bowl victory.
Man, it's about, you want something bad enough, you got to go get it. You know, it was right in front of us. We had the lead. You know, it was put on the defensive shoulders, to make the big stop to help us be world champions. So you won't want another way.
With the victory over the Bengals, it's the second Super Bowl title in franchise history, but the first with the team here in Los Angeles. The NFL league calendar now turns to the offseason, with the NFL Combine up next, and then it's free agency for teams to address their biggest needs. Reporting from the Super Bowl inside SoFi Stadium, I'm John Laddick.
Thank you, John. Now to the Super Bowl's star-studded halftime performance when a group of hip-hop legends took the stage at SoFi Stadium. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar all performed their most iconic songs. Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg opened the show with the next episode in California Love. Mary J. Blige, Kendrick Lamar, and Eminem followed with their biggest hits. There was also a surprise appearance by 50 Cent. It was a great show for sure. Well, thousands of truck drivers have been protesting the Canadian Prime Minister's COVID-19 vaccine mandates. And you might be wondering how protests in Canada could affect your life in the U.S. territory. At issue is what you can and cannot buy. As one of the vaccine protests winds down, others are ramping up. Reporter Amy Kiley has a look at what Canadian demonstrations mean for you.
Protests against COVID-19 measures could still threaten trade between the U.S. and Canada. That's even after a police crackdown in Windsor, Canada cleared the Ambassador Bridge into Detroit.
Any unlawful activity in the area will not be tolerated, and officers will take the necessary action to keep the peace and traffic flowing. There will be criminal consequences for those who interfere with or interrupt traffic flow.
That's a relief for Michigan auto industry workers. They're out tens of millions of dollars after truckers shut down the bridge for days, blocking supplies and idling plants. Now, that convoy is inspiring other demonstrations. CTV reports at the Washington state border, police are trying to keep the area clear. That's after large vehicles broke through a police barricade over the weekend and hundreds gathered to protest.
We're peaceful. We're Canadians. And let me tell you, the world's giving us a bear hug right now.
Here along the border with Montana, demonstrators have been clogging traffic with farm equipment. Near North Dakota, they've endured harsh weather. Trade between the U.S. and Canada is hundreds of billions of dollars yearly, so these demonstrations can limit what goes in your shopping cart. And these protests are inspiring ones in the U.S., like we saw in Buffalo, New York, and Boulder, Colorado over the weekend.
Today is about protesting the remaining mandates before they continue on down the slippery slope.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.